There's a pair of gloves called the Abyss Beckoners that's pretty neat, as your summon will have resistance to all forms of damage except for psychic damage, at the cost of potentially going mad and attacking your own party members. You'll first hear about the Thieves Guild by rescuing 2 men that are trapped by a bunch of gnolls, and there's 2 different paths that you can take to access them. So it's right beneath the Ryzen Road waypoint, and the first path I'm going to show you is in this little cave here, but the cave has a trap boulder, so first you want to blow up this little section here with a fire source. Then you want to either head in there just with 1 party member real fast, as it will be sending a giant boulder your way. I just sent in a frog that I summoned to be sacrificed. And then you want to jump past the boulder and head up that way. Only problem with this path is Ruben will end up helping you, but him and his ally will end up dying pretty easily. They did for me anyway. And I thought, well, if that makes it easy, I'll just take their treasure they were guarding here, but had a pretty interesting item in there called the Iron Flask, and it was worth a lot of money. And once I inspected it, I couldn't help but pop in the cork. And a spectator popped out of it, which is a really strong monster. It didn't give me anything for killing it. It did make me want to try to save them. I ended up going around this time, and if you go around through the backside, they don't even join you in the fight, so it's guaranteed survival for them. People said they've kept this spectator and just popped him out on some pretty useful fights too, by the way. And someone said they popped it out on the spectator fight in the Underdark and just stepped back, let those 2 go at it, which sounds pretty awesome. But once you keep Rugen alive, he'll tell you that it's got a special shipment inside that's supposed to be delivered to Baldur's Gate. But you can also make a deal with him and end up selling it to someone else in Baldur's Gate on the side, and it'll just be a little deal between you and him that will end up splitting the profit. He'll also invite you to the Thieves Guild, and he gives you the secret password in order to get in. Head to the west of the cave there up the rocks, and you'll end up taking the alternate route and keeping Rugen alive, as he won't join in on the battle this time. But it will end up being a lot tougher, and I ended up trying to summon the ogres, which did help me out, but at the end of the fight, Rugen ended up attacking them, which initiated the battle again, so I had to end up restarting it and not using them. What you do want to do is put your whole party in stealth though, and head on the east side of the mountain and just get the high advantage on them, as it'll be so much easier to win the fight, as you will have the advantage with the high ground, and there is an enemy up there that will just mess you up. The flaming sphere is really good for wizards, and it's got 30 hit points, so it's such a tank. Just keep it kind of far away from your teammates, as it will do fire damage, as well as just being able to attack on top of that. Shadowheart is also able to summon some weapons too, and they have 14 hit points, so they come in really handy for just absorbing damage. Definitely helps to even the playing field, as there are a lot of enemies in this fight. Shadowheart ended up getting downed, but her weapon was still doing work, which is pretty nice in some games sometimes. If the caster goes down, then the summon goes down with it. So they'll be hostile if you just open the chest right there in front of their face, but you can just pick it up and throw it down further away from them and just open it there, and they won't see it or care. The chest does have a seal on it, and whoever you're supposed to deliver it to, it's like a wizard I think in Baldur's Gate, they will notice and they won't be happy about it apparently. So I've just been lugging it around on Lozelle. You could probably just put it in your camp storage, as you might not end up in Baldur's Gate for a while. And it is pretty heavy, it's 11 pounds or something. Their hideout is located in Joaquin's Rest, which is just a little bit west of this. There is a scene that's going on there where they're trying to rescue someone through the building there. In order to get through that building, you want to break this giant barrel that's blocking it. It's easy to do with a warrior with 1 or 2 swipes, but the Thieves Guild hideout is located a little bit to the side here. Just want to move a few of these boxes out of the way, and if you have a high enough perception, they'll just notice that someone's walking around in there. Just tell him the password that they told you, and he'll let you down into the guild. It's behind a hidden dresser here too that you have to move out of the way. I can see some people missing this if they just kind of stumble upon this area.
sorrows. This is Rugen's saviour, I'll bet. He told us all about you. Come on in, then. Any friend of Rugen's is a friend of the family.
Once you get inside, you'll be greeted by their leader, and you'll see that they're beating up Rugen for not having the chest. With a persuasion check, you can agree to work with her and deliver the chest instead of him, and she wants you to take him out though as a sign of your loyalty. If you don't, you'll end up facing the whole guild, and there are a lot of people in here, so it might be a pretty tough fight. If you do, you definitely want to go to the high ground where she's at, as you can just throw her off the cliff and give her a good 10 damage or so. If you are accepted into the guild though, Brem the merchant will open up his wares to something other than just die, as he does have a lot of good items once you become a member of the guild. There's also a painter that's been captured as a slave, and he wants you to pay his captors for his freedom, and he wants 1,000 gold for him, or 600 if you persuade him. Then Oscar will ask for an extra 200 gold for his travels to Baldur's Gate. You do want to help him out and give him the 200 gold, otherwise he won't have a quest for you once you get to Baldur's Gate. Once he opens the full wares to you, he'll have some invisibility potions, which are really essential for going in the back here and stealing the treasures back there, or for snatching up some hard to steal items off of Brem, as he's got some really high-end armors on him, and the success rate for any really expensive item is usually pretty low, unless you have invisibility, as this armor was like a 30 or 40% chance to steal, and then I stole a crossbow or something that was like a 60% chance to steal once my invisibility already wore off, so I was able to snatch up 2 items and then slowly walk away. Up top, if you go behind, there's a bunch of treasure in the back that's being guarded. If you head down there and talk to the wolf, if you have a spell or potion that lets you do so, he'll mention something strange about the rock that's behind him.
Be brief. I've a lot on my mind and, well, in it.
Careful. No stone scent. No stone sound. Strange stone here.
As the rock is just an illusion, and you can head right through it. Inside you'll see an elevator that has a lock on it. If you lockpick the lock, you'll be able to use the elevator to descend into the Underdark, and that's just one of many ways to reach the Underdark.
Dance upon the stars tonight, smile and pain will fade away. Words of mine will turn to ash when you call the last lights down. Moon reminds me of your grace.
Should definitely use some invisibility to get into these lock gates here, as they're being heavily watched. There's 2 chests here on the one to the left, and one of them has some gold and some dye, and the other one has some infernal iron, which you use for Karlach. You can give these pieces to a blacksmith that's in Emerald Grove, and he'll take 1 piece there, and then he'll end up moving to Baldur's Gate, I think, and then that's where you give him the other pieces at. So the other room ends up having some pretty interesting gloves, and I don't think there's really too much else that's interesting in there besides the painting that I took. You definitely don't want to waste too much time in there, as these invisibility spells and potions only have a limited amount of time on them. I ended up wasting too much time myself in there and didn't have any more invisibility, so I used a teleport spell, but ended up casting it too far though and walked right into their field of view. But I was crouched, so they didn't see me. Definitely an interesting item, as I do use a lot of summons, and immediately I was curious if it's going to work on Scratch, and definitely makes them look pretty cool. I'm going to use it and tinker around with it. Just won't keep too many of my allies nearby him in case they do go mad. And what's interesting is it also works on the Flame Spear, which is pretty amazing, as that thing's just a tank with 30 hit points. Now it's just going to be a super tank that I could just stay back and send it in there. It doesn't work on the zombie from Anti-Ethel though. It also comes with a interesting looking aura as well that Your summons have to be within in order to receive the buff from it. I was going to hold off on making this video until I brought the chest to Baldur's Gate, but there's just so many good items in this area. And it's taken me quite a while to get there. This game just has so much to do, so much depth that you can just get lost so easily. Take it easy, be well, and I'll catch you on the next one.